Alright, well, here we go. This is a bit different. Welcome to the first episode of the WTFWF, which means the What the Fuck with Finnivus. I don't know if I could say that. It is my own show. I don't know how to feel about saying the actual title. Like, should I call it the actual way it is, like the What the Fuck with Finnivus, or should I just call it what it... I think it's my own show, it's me, it's my opinions, so screw it, I'll call it by its actual name. It's the What the Fuck with Finnivus, but we'll, if we ever get, like, a fancy word logo other than the helmet logo that you're seeing on screen right now, we'll make it all cursed out or something. It's a bleep. That's how I intend for it to be. But if you come from my YouTube channel, well, obviously you're here. You're probably wondering, what in God's name is this? It is a podcast that I've decided to create. I've been wanting to do this for a while. I've wanted to just have a thing where I sit down and I ramble about shit that I like video games, movies, pop culture, nerd shit, cause why not, right? It's the best thing to me. Like, it's there when you need a escape from reality, and I'll be honest, reality at sometimes can be an absolute shithole, which is also partially why it's called the WTF, because what the fuck is going on with stuff nowadays, right? The name, I just thought it was catchy and that it was cool and that it made sense, but when I put behind a more purposeful meaning to it, it's more so to be like, oh, like, this shit's weird. Like, now, like, pop culture, movies, video games, nerd stuff, it was originally meant to be an escape from reality, but now reality has seeped into it in a lot of shit. There's and also here comes Finnivus's unbiased and probably unpopular with a lot of people's opinions, but I don't like politics and ideologies and shit in pop culture, in media, and I don't know how I'm gonna explain this, but I don't really... Okay, so what I mean by like politics and shit seeping into modern stuff, you've got like subliminal messaging in modern video games. Like in the new video game, I think Forspoken was full of that shit. The new Saints Row was full of it. And I don't want to get political on this because I think this podcast's like main thing is to try and be an escape from reality, but I gotta get the bullshit out of the way first, and I need to explain why I created this and what it's about. But politics nowadays, like, Jesus Christ, what the fuck? I've already delved into a political or a sub-political discussion in the first episode of this shit, but to put it bluntly, stuff was supposed to be an escape from reality. Pop culture, movies, shit like that. Nowadays, you can't escape shit like that. Like in... Be it from, like, shit, what are some good examples? She-Hulk. She-Hulk is a very good example of, like, political correctness and shit like that, and I hate it. I really hate a lot of the shit nowadays that goes on, because everything, they have to talk down to you almost. They have to make you aware of shit, and I don't like that. And I could get socially crucified for saying this alone, but I don't like that shit. I feel like, you know, again, I want to make this shit an escape from reality. So I hope that made some semblance of sense, that I want this to be an escape from reality and an authentic one, where we just talk about video games. Sometimes we'll look at the wacky bullshit, like IGN's stupid reviews, like how IGN gave Alien Isolation like a 5.2 or whatever. But anyway, let's get into some other stuff. I guess the first episode of a podcast is obviously about like who the person running it is and stuff. So if you know me, hello, I am Finnivus. I make YouTube videos. We actually just hit 700 subscribers on the channel, so I'd like to thank everybody for that. That's really awesome, and I love what I've done with the channel, and I love the I've been planning for a while, and I think this is the start of it. I've been planning like a rehash of the channel, like a rebrand. And I don't... What the hell is a... Okay, hang on. That sounds so dumb. But I'm gonna Google it right now. A type of product manufactured by a particular company under a particular name. I don't want to brand myself, but I more want to, like, Finnivus isn't a brand. Like, I am Finnivus. That's me. Finnivus, Mike, whatever the hell. But I really want to redo my current YouTube look, because it just looks like stereotypical, like, YouTuber that does stupid shit, like the Mr. Beastification of YouTube, and that's another thing I'm gonna talk about in a minute here. But I really want to give my channel a relook. That's what I said before. But like the image you're seeing on screen now of that helmet is actually from an image that I got online, and that my friends actually updated this thing. I'll bring it up on the main image, but this piece of art I really like. I did not mean to make it that big. But I really like this piece of art. You could see that the helmet is definitely from the image there. And I want to do something like that, where I make my icon or my logo that helmet in like a suit of armor, because armor to me is very symbolic. I really like armor and cool armor designs in video games. I don't know, there's something about it. Sounds so stupid, like, oh, you're trying to be like armor is symbolic. Like, how can it be symbolic? Well, armor protects people and shit like that. And also, I might dive into like symbolic or like super like philosophical or some type of shit like that. But I really like the design of this armor. I think it's amazing and stuff like that, because I don't know, I feel like I'll explain more about the armor when I'm confident. I feel like when I can have an accurate description of it. But it's unique. I feel like it's unique. Like, it's my own personal avatar. Like, not like a VTuber avatar, but like an avatar in the sense where it has meaning. Because my avatar on YouTube right now is a shark. It's my favorite animal. And if you look at the armor on screen right now, you can see that there's sharks for the wrist gauntlets there, and then there's like a skull type shape in the shoulder pads, and then the helmet is very shark inspired. The actual name of this, where I found it on ArtStation, was Dark Souls shark armor. And I've never played any Dark Souls games besides Elden Ring. I own Elden Ring on my PS4, and I'm still trying to beat that. I've been on and off with Elden Ring, but I really like armor. Like, I'll try and create some sort of my own personal meaning behind it or some shit like that. But another thing I want to go to quick is talk about the current state of YouTube and like content in general. to start off, where the idea for this podcast really took off and where I got the idea from was actually by a video by Tommy Innit, who is a member of the Dream SMP. Now, I know that one of my most popular videos on YouTube is about me talking about how I thought Dream was secretly ruining Minecraft, which, I'll be honest, I still think he is. There's a lot of bad things about his group of like, I don't like it. I don't know how, okay, it's not that I don't like it, I don't know how to feel about it. But Tommy Innit made a second channel just called Tom, and he just, I'll read the description of it quick. What is this about? Oh, it just says big man in the description, that's funny. But he just, talks about on this channel shit he wants to talk about, which I like, which is also something that I feel like I want to do, but on a longer scale, so that's why I created this podcast. But he made a video talking about where the title is named Creativity is Dead. And, I found that really interesting, because in the modern, like, era of YouTube, like, if I launch on my computer on Google Chrome, and if I go to YouTube and I'm not signed in, this is what will be recommended. And I'm doing this right now on my PC, looking at it on my first monitor. Well, okay, it's probably biased based off of my search history being logged out, because there's a lot of things that I know. But, like, you can even look on the trending tab of YouTube, and it can basically summarize for you what it'll recommend to you. Like, there's movie trailers, there's videos by popular YouTubers, there's movie reviews. Wow. Okay, there's a review of the Mario movie already out. That's interesting. And I am gonna talk about movies a lot. And I'm gonna talk about movies later in this episode of the podcast. And oh wow, I'm scrolling through the Schaefer Ellis, a popular movie reviewer YouTuber, just learned that there's gonna be a live action Moana. Well, that's not good, because the live-action Disney remakes are kind of garbage, from what I've seen. I'm not really a fan of the live-action remakes. And, like, why do we need to remake things in live-action? Like, the Halo TV show was garbage. The Halo TV show, I remember watching the first episode, and I was so, like, lost and confused. But, another thing is that, like, yeah, why do we have to remake things? Why can't it be preserved in its original form for what it was? Like, Halo, from a storytelling perspective and from a video game standpoint, was art. Halo is what made Xbox what it is. They've said in interviews with Microsoft and Xbox and the game designers of Halo that if they lose their way with Master Chief and Halo as a franchise and a brand, Xbox will lose its way. So, it's not good when that is in the current state it's in with, like, Halo Infinite. Like, how long did it take? 7 months for Season 2 of Halo Infinite multiplayer to happen? Like, it's wild. But anyway, more on remaking things. Like, I think every Disney movie is fine as is. I don't see why we need remakes in live action. Like, yes, cool, like, live action, like, you see things if they were real. Like, in the Halo TV show, I'll give it props. Like, it was accurate somewhat to the game. You saw banshees, you saw ghosts, you saw, like, the Covenant dropships, you saw pelicans. The Spartan armor looked pretty on point, even though it took place in an alternate timeline of Halo, and it wasn't even Blue Team with Master Chief. And even then, I think the last great Halo game, and this is coming out of left field, I actually like Halo 4. That's out of left field. That's like, oh, people are going to kill me for that. But I like Halo 4. It's mainly, the only reason I like Halo 4 is because I grew up with it. I think the story's okay compared to the other games where there's more stakes involved with like the Grave Mine and the Flood. There's a lot more stakes involved and stuff like that. And I think Halo was, like, perfect as it is in its form. It should be recognized for what, like, art form it's in. And I think video games can be an art form. I'm going on so many tangents. And just a quick disclaimer about that. I am going to go off on tangents. And, like, right now, I'm just going to say, quickly, before we get any further into this, if you are enjoying this podcast so far on what I talk about and stuff like that, and, like, if you're interested in seeing more, please share this around. Like, please show it to people and get people to watch it, because I feel like... Okay, hang on. Share it with people who are like-minded. Does that sound bad? That kind of sounds bad in my head. That doesn't... I don't know, but going back to the entire Mr. Beastification of YouTube and, like, creativity is dead with Tommy in it and what this podcast is really about, he said that a lot of people follow a certain formula and that they're not unique. And I agree with this. And he said in the video, just have... it would be way better to have a small audience that loves you and loves what you do. And if you can make revenue on that, then you're basically set because you'll enjoy it more. And it's way better than having a massive audience that just thinks you're okay. Like some people on YouTube, like content creators I watch, like Jacksepticeye and Markiplier, they've changed their content. And I've changed who I've watched on YouTube. Like, I don't watch Jacksepticeye as much as I used to. I watch way more YouTubers that review video games now, like The Act Man. I watch pop culture YouTube channels that talk about movies. I watch Under the Mayo on YouTube. Under the Mayo's YouTube channel, I'm gonna talk about him a bit for a second here. Under the Mayo is one of the best YouTubers that I've watched in the past, like, year and a half. I love his videos. His videos are great. He's old school. He makes analysis and discussion videos. Here, I'll read his YouTube description. Analysis, discussion, strategy for Doom, Resident Evil, Mortal Kombat 9, and other games I have a passion for. I just think that's really cool. But, oh, he does have a podcast. That's cool. Huh. He's got 12 episodes of the Doom Eternal podcast, and then he's got Mayo interviews. That's cool. Maybe I can get on there one day. I'd love that. Mayo, if you're watching. I know I'm stupidly small YouTube-wise. But, he makes great videos on, like, old classic games. Like, his most popular video is about Papers, Please. Second most popular is why the Resident Evil 3 remake is an absolute disgrace. But, and then the video that got me into him is in the Defense of Marauders in Doom Eternal, which is the game that I'm going to play next on the channel. And then after that game, I'm going to do The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. Doom Eternal is one of my favorite games. It's in my top 3 of my favorite video games of all time. But going back to the whole creativity is dead thing. Well, actually, I think I can somewhat tangent off now because I'm talking about Under the Mayo. But yeah, basically, a lot of things aren't original. Like, even, what's his name? Sunny V2. Sunny V2's videos are incredibly popular. His style of making videos is impeccable. It's so unique, where he makes like internet mini documentaries on stuff that goes on. Like, even there's a guy who I think even like copied his formula, which is Internet Anarchist. Like, it's weird because you can see now that people are like copying his formula and stuff like that. And then there's people who make long form content, like The Right Opinion, who makes full on YouTube documentaries and stuff like that. It's just, it's very like generic of stuff. Like, you've got YouTubers who will do try not to laughs and like reaction channels. Then there's like streamers who do various stuff. But for me, it's very much like talk about shit that I like. Like, oh yeah, wow, actually, a Mr. Beast video just surged to #1 on trending. Okay, wow, that was fast, but yeah, it's very very, very, very interesting. Yeah, I'm scrolling through it now, and it's very, very interesting. Movie trailers, video games, DIY, stuff like that. But anyway, let's get into stuff that I genuinely want to talk about. I feel like we've got a good introduction off. Like, it was 20 minutes. I kept it as brief as I could. I think I did good. Just to reiterate, finally, the podcast is about pop culture, video games, movies, escape from reality. Not going into the news, really, unless, like, the news intersects with video games and stuff. Talk about stuff that I like. So, yeah, we're good. Let's get into stuff that I actually want to talk about. So, actually, let me talk about a comic book that I bought. I don't really read comic books or manga, and talking about manga, I don't really actually read manga that much or watch anime. But I'm very, very picky and very selective when it comes to it. But I picked up the first volume of a comic by Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman, and it's called Venom. And I will be honest, this is one of the best comic books that I have ever read in my entire life. And it's just the first volume in omnibus. Well, it's not the omnibus, but it's the first version, and it has a lot of, like, I think it's got like the first however many volumes in it. Hang on, let me see. Yeah, the first 5 volumes are in this one book. But it is great from a storytelling perspective, and the art in this comic book is gorgeous. You will see here, I'll bring up an image of it on screen. I'll bring up an image of the comic. Can I open image in new tab? There we go. Nope. Okay. Not now. God damn it. Okay. Well, here we go. This is the Donny Cates Venom book. This is the first volume. This is the one that I own. And it is amazing, and I highly recommend, if you're like a Marvel, like if you actually are like looking for shit like before Endgame, like stuff that radiates the same energy as like how good Marvel was before Endgame, pick this up and read it. It has a sub-series or a book before it called Venom, and I'll explain what that is in a minute, but I'll give a brief synopsis of the book. I'll actually read the back of it, and then I'll explain more. But there's a quote from Comics Verse on the back that says, Donny Cates adds some great new Venom lore to the mix, also tells a chilling story. Ryan Stegman's art looks like it's right out of a horror movie. Which it kind of does, but it feels stupidly traditionally comic book to me. It feels like very, like grunge comic. Grunge-ish with a bit of like, you know, it's typical, like, it's Marvel. It's grunge Marvel stuff. Like, think, this is going to be a very drastic comparison. I would say this Venom comic is like, you know, the movie that just came out of Batman called The Batman, where it's like a more realistic interpretation of Batman. Think of that, but with Venom, but remove the realistic part. Like, it's more serious, I think is what I'm trying to get off. But, also, don't mind me, I'm drinking tea because before I recorded this, I was, oh god, almost asleep. And I put 2.5 cups, or 2.5 scoops, or spoonfuls of sugar in this thing, so it should keep me awake. But, I'll read the back of it now after reading the quote. Beneath the streets of New York, an ancient and primordial evil has been awakened. With it, something equally evil has been awakened. In that most wicked of web slingers, Venom, the symbiote, may still be a lethal protector of innocence in New York, but this never before seen threat could possibly force Venom to relinquish everything it holds dear, including his human host, Eddie Brock. As Eddie and Venom summon the strength to defend New York against the most powerful foe they've ever faced, there's one more thing in their way: Miles Morales' Spider-Man. Two of the hottest creators in comics today, Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman, joined forces to put Venom through a nightmare 1,000 years in the making. That, I don't think, does a very good job of summing up the book, so I'll sum it up for you. The comic starts out briefly enough where it's like, oh, Venom and Eddie Brock are just fighting crime together and they're having trouble being symbiotic together. Like, in the beginning of the comic, I'll read some of it here, where Eddie wakes up and he tries to suppress and dull Venom's voice out with pills. Where Eddie, I'm gonna quote the book here, and this is in being said in like Eddie's head. This is like his own like monologue in his head, but it says, antipsychotics take hold, drowning its voice out. I can think now, just me in here. Something is wrong with my symbiote. It looks like it's losing its mind, like it's broken. Its thoughts and feelings are erratic, cruel. The nightmares are new, but they aren't surprising. For the first time in a long time, it scares me. If I can't fix it soon... And then it cuts off, and then it goes to a big panel of Venom web-slinging through a city to go get a guy. But it's a very good classic open to a Venom novel. But then Venom himself, the symbiote, gets possessed, and his logo on his chest, the white chest emblem of the spider, becomes red. And these red tendrils spin around his body, and there's a red, like, circle on his face, like a target, and he speaks in this ancient old language. And Eddie can't tell what's happening. Venom, for all he knows, is like knocked out. But a guy comes and rescues them named Rex Strickland. And this guy, what I love about it, is that he's basically a Vietnam War veteran who went to war in Vietnam, and he was part of a program that's actually a 2.0 version of the program that was used to make Captain America in the original, stuff like that. So I'll read what he says. So he ties him up into a chair, Rex Strickland, and he's talking to Eddie Brock. And he says, well, if I'm being honest, I wanted Flash Thompson's help, but I guess my intel's a bit old, so now I'm stuck with you. It's Eddie Brock, right? Eddie, can you tell me specifically about Project Rebirth? Specifically the 2.0 version? And in Vietnam, during the war, the American government injected a squad of soldiers with symbiotes. And these symbiotes would all form together into this one massive super symbiote called the Grendel, which is a symbiote dragon. Now, I know I'm like spoiling the book, but it's so good. Just the fact that, like, Rex Strickland was, like, a Vietnam... Like, I love when stories do that, when they tie stuff into real events. Like, I think it's why I like the Transformers movies so much. Because, like, they say, oh, the moon landing, they were using it to go... See, they were going to the moon, but they were also going to the moon because a giant-ass alien robot Decepticon ship crashed on the moon. And they wanted to see what was in there. And I thought that was really good because the plot of the first 3 Transformers movies actually was kind of consecutive and it kind of made sense. Besides, like, the second movie with the whole Star Harvester and the pyramid bullshit. But, another thing is about his symbiote acting up. A character is introduced in this comic that is, in my opinion, one of the greatest Marvel villains ever because he's been around since the beginning of the universe itself. He is a primordial evil. He's been there. He's been alive as long as Celestials have. Probably more because he existed before Celestials. But the character's name is Null. And I won't spoil much about him, but he is confirmed to be the god of the symbiotes. But please, if you are a fan of Marvel stuff and you want something before Endgame that's actually really good and got really good storytelling, buy Donny Cates' Venom. And then buy V-Nam too, even though I haven't read that yet. It's very, very good. I still have to buy the other books yet. I'm gonna try and buy them. And the artwork in this too, again, going back to the art, it's stupid good. Like, you'll get beautiful double-page panels. There's an entire panel where Venom just has guns, grenades, and bullets, like bullet belts, strapped to his chest, with body armor and rocket launchers and stuff, and it is the coolest shit ever. And it's really, really pretty. There's an entire 2-page panel where the symbiote dragon, the Grendel, breaks through a wall and Venom is like nearly getting eaten, and then there are the words, "God is here," which is what they say when that the god of the symbiotes is coming. And I think I said his name. His name is Null. Whenever Null is around, the symbiotes will always say God is coming because he's a symbiote god. But it is one of the best comic books I've ever read. And I found it at Comic-Con when I went to Comic-Con in Toronto. Oh, and also in this one, Venom gets wings, which is cool. They explain that in the comic. But yeah, definitely pick it up if you're interested. It's very, very worth your time if you're, like, turbo nerd like me. But moving on. What else do I like? There was a comic series that I read. in middle school called Amulet that I think I have a copy of around here somewhere. Is that what it is? Is that it? Hang on, I might have found it. Yeah, I think I did. I did find it. Ha! Okay, so this is book 9? Nope, book 8. I've been lied to by myself. Amulet is another really good book series. Like, nowadays, like, comparing it to what, like, I like now in the subject matter, like, clearly this is for middle schoolers. But it's still, like, a good nostalgia trip. And it is good. It's still good. It's very, very, very original. And I like it. It's got a lot of good themes in it, and yeah, it reminds me a lot of when I was in middle school and the shit I would do in middle school. If you're watching this and you know me from like middle school era, if you remember me, I always read Amulet, I think. I either read that or I was reading manga that I couldn't understand. Because back then, my brain, I didn't know how to, process things. Like, I don't know. It was weird. But now, like, I'm getting into all this stuff. And it's cool. But I think there's, like, one more book in this series, and then it's over. Where they conclude it, which I'll be sad on. When the book concludes. It's very, very good. And then, yep, at the ending of the book, it says, to be concluded in book 9 with a picture of the main character, Emily, flying away from Earth. So then, there are a lot of, okay, so there are currently 8 books. There's book 1, The Stonekeeper, book 2, The Stonekeeper's Curse, book 3, The Cloud Searchers, book 4, The Last Council, book 5, I think is my favorite, which is The Prince of the Elves. That book is incredible. I think it's just because one of the characters gets beaten up and to the point where his face is nearly like caved in and it's bleeding a lot. It's very dark, which I think it's why I like it so much. It's a very dark book. There's book 6, Escape from Lucian, book 7, Firelight, and then book 8, Supernova. And then he's gonna name, like, book 10, like, God or something. Like, God Emperor or something. Oh my god, it's only been 40 minutes since I started talking. Ay, caramba. Alright, I've been talking a lot. Let's check Twitter. Let's see what's trending. Air movie, AEW Dynamite, Barbie movie. Oh, yep, Trump's trending. Mario's trending. That makes sense because the Mario movie is coming out tomorrow. I'm not gonna go see it this weekend because it is Easter weekend, but I am gonna go see that, and I'm very excited to see how they handle that. A lot of people were, like, skeptical about one thing in the movie. I can't remember what it was, but yeah, it looks good. It is raining so much outside. It's not like a thunderstorm, but it is raining quite a bit. Let's talk about some of my favorite movies. And actually, there's an app that I have called Letterboxd where I can catalog my favorite movies. Oh, the Mario Brothers movie's out. Oh, it's getting 5-star reviews. Oh my god. Okay, it's happening. Oh. Okay, let's see. In 50 years, Jack Black's Bowser performance will still be taught in acting classes. The Super Mario Bros. Movies nails the animation of the various worlds and characters based on the classic Nintendo video game, but the story moves too fast. Opting for adequacy instead of anything super, Jack Black's heavy metal loving Bowser in the film is a true... Okay, Bowser loves heavy metal. The movie's already sold. I listen to metal. If you see me in real life, I don't look like the type of guy to listen to metal music, but I do. I love metal. And I don't sound like I like metal, but I do. I fucking love metal. I have a favorite metal band, and their name is Gojira. I'll do after I talk about some of my favorite movies. I'll talk about Gojira and why I love them, so we could get like a brief range of what I like and stuff, and then I think we'll like end the podcast for episode 1. But we'll go to my the Mario movie looks great. It looks really good. I am so excited to see that. And if I don't have buttered popcorn while watching the Mario movie, I will not be viewing it right. I could really go for buttered popcorn right now, but I would love buttered popcorn while watching the Mario movie, which is obvious. Like, you go to the movies, you get a snack. But, okay. I will rapid fire names of movies that I have on my Letterboxd account that I've liked. So here we go. My favorite films are Blade Runner 2049, Pacific Rim, and The Matrix, the first Matrix movie. And then for various movies that I've liked, I've got Fantastic Mr. Fox, Interstellar, Fury, Midway, The Tomorrow War, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which I gave a 5 stars. Rushmore, that's a good movie. Ghost in the Shell, Alien, Ridley Scott's Alien, Jaws, Monty Python and the Holy Grail, Predator, No Country for Old Men, The Lego Movie, Transformers, Revenge of the Fallen, Transformers Dark of the Moon, Alita Battle Angel, which in my opinion is one of the best manga depictions ever put to film, All Quiet on the Western Front, Prey, Top Gun Maverick, Dune, Godzilla, King of the Monsters, Godzilla vs. Kong, Shin Godzilla, Hacksaw Ridge, Dunkirk, Avengers Endgame, District 9, Deep Blue Sea, Iron Man, and then some others that I won't name. Let me talk about my favorite movies on my profile and why they're there. On Letterboxd, you can have up to 4 movies selected to be previewed as favorites on your account. So for me, let's go in order on, like, from left to right on how you see them. Blade Runner 2049. Blade Runner 2049 I watched, I think, 2 months ago. And it is one of the most beautiful cinematic, like, films, like, the most cinematic movie that I've seen in a long time. Like, I saw No Country for Old Men. That was extremely cinematic. And stuff like that. Because I feel like when you're making movies nowadays, like, a lot of people, like, film as a genre, it's forgotten that film is an art. And I feel like Blade Runner reinforces that, although it is a sci-fi story where it can have many sci-fi and cyberpunk tropes. But Blade Runner 2049 has Ryan Gosling, Harrison Ford, Jared Leto, and some other actors in it. And the movie, the cinematography in it is gorgeous. The philosophy and the themes and the symbology in it is incredible also. Like, what it means to truly be human. And, it's just, the soundtrack is great. The main character is great. Like, one of my favorite shots in the movie, I think I have 2 favorite shots in the movie. One of them is where it's the opening of the movie, the first 10 minutes, and you look at the LAPD, and it is a massive skyscraper of a building with just the words LAPD over it. And then there are other various shots, like flying over, like, old ruined Earth and stuff like that. Like, because it's cyberpunk and it's like post-disaster, like post-apocalypse-y, like not really, but my favorite shot in the movie is at the end where Ryan Gosling's character Joe, like he does what he was supposed to do, and he's alone as Harrison Ford's character walks into a building, and it's snowing, and he sits down and he lays down on the steps leading up to this building. And I don't think there's any music in that scene. Well, I think there is, but it just I really love that shot. It shows a lot. And I think it mainly shows how tired he is. Like, mentally tired he is after going through all of that, because you're going from being a replicant, which in Blade Runner, replicants are human beings, but they're not. They're they're bioengineered humans. They're not, like, full humans. Replicants can't give birth, but there was one in the movie that did give birth that they're trying to find. Like, they're trying to find the offspring of this one replicant who did give birth. And, he was basically, Ryan Gosling is a Blade Runner, and Blade Runners are replicants that are hired to hunt down and kill other replicants. And, yeah, that ending shot in the movie, where he's, like, after going through all the mental stuff, where he finally feels a bit of humanity and stuff like that, and where he needs to rest. Like, he's so overcome with emotion that he needs to just sit down and lay down and rest and, like, sink into his own mind and his own it's beautiful. Blade Runner 2049 is a great movie. It's great. And you'll notice that across all my favorite films, I very much like sci-fi movies. But before we do that, I'm gonna go get a drink really quick, because god damn it, my throat is parched. I am very, very thirsty. I need some cold water. I will be right back. Enjoy the music. I will be very quick. Alright, good news, viewers. I got some water. Now I can be properly hydrated and I can speak again. So, that's good. Jesus. Whew. Okay. Wow, that's refreshing. Way more refreshing than a cup of tea. Okay. Favorite movie number 2, Pacific Rim. I love Pacific Rim to death. I think it is one of the best. Another really good sci-fi movie. It's basically about giant monsters come out of the Atlantic Ocean, or the Pacific Ocean. Sorry. And humanity fought a war with them. Well, the movie is about the kaiju human war, and kaiju means monster. Is it German? I don't know, but kaiju means monster. And, humanity builds giant robots giant weapons that are robots called Jaegers. And essentially what Jaegers do is they could go out and they could fight these massive giant monsters and kill them. And after humanity started doing this, they eventually started winning the war. Because at the beginning of the war, they tried taking down the kaiju with tanks, missiles, gunfire, fighter jet fire, missiles, nukes, ballistic missiles. They tried everything, and it took such a long time. The first kaiju that came over, it took 3 days to kill the first wait, did it? Hang on, I'll Google this. How long did it take to kill the first kaiju in the Pacific universe? Hang on, I'll just look up the movie script. Okay, great. Now I have to... Okay. Okay. So... Okay, that's what happened. So Raleigh in the beginning of the movie says 6 days okay. He said, I was 15 when the first kaiju made land in San Francisco. By the time tanks, jets, and missiles took it down, 6 days and 35 miles later, 3 cities were destroyed. Tens of thousands of lives were lost. Which just puts into perspective how, like, screwed humanity was when this just happened out of the blue. It took 6 days to kill the first kaiju, and then it took, how long? Like, 6 months until the next kaiju attack? And then it kept happening, and it kept happening. So then they built the robots, Jaegers. The Jaeger robots. Now, the Jaegers are so big that it can't be piloted by one person. They have a thing where, in order to control a Jaeger, you have to literally melt your mind into the system of this robot. You have to connect via, what would you call it? Like a psychic connection, or not psychic. Hang on, I'll look up what... okay. So the drift is a mental process that takes a person, and it requires them to synchronize their bodies to the Jaeger's body so they can move accurately and proportionately. So, when the Jaegers were first made, it was like, oh, you can't, like, one person can't pilot it. It takes 2 people. And the stronger a bond you have with said person who's going to pilot with you, the better your outcomes. So, family and friends would commonly get into Jaegers, and they would kick ass. Like, Raleigh and his brother in the beginning of the movie, they're really good, but his brother dies. There's Striker Eureka, which is really good. Like, a lot of the Jaegers that you see in the movie are piloted by family members, like brothers and sisters, or mothers and fathers, and stuff like that. Which is cool. But I think I've given a brief enough synopsis on Pacific Rim. I am losing my voice. It's nuts. But, yeah, that one is really good. On to the next movie, The Matrix. The Matrix is a movie that when I watched it for the first time, it blew my mind. The concept, I saw, when I saw it, the concept had never been done before. I had never been prone to it, and I never really understood it. But when I watched it for the first time, my mind was completely blown. Just the concept, like, it's so original and it's so unique. Like, oh, guy lives in a dream world, and he wakes up and he finds that the real world is actually post-apocalypse, robots and machines rule Earth. And he's chosen to be the one to say, like, the Jesus Christ of the Matrix is what Neo is, or the One, as they call him, to save everybody from the Matrix. And it is such a good movie. This movie is what made Keanu Reeves' career blow up. Like, the first Matrix is incredible. Like, on Letterboxd, I think it's got, like, its average is, like, yeah, 4.1 stars is the average rating it gets. It is really good. It's got really good action. It was the first movie to ever introduce a bullet time scene, and bullet time is something that The Matrix got known for, and it became a staple of it, along with, like, the trench coats and, like, the black leather clothes and the sunglasses. It's all around a stupidly good movie. Even the poster of The Matrix is incredible. Like, it's crazy how good this movie is. And I don't know if you would consider it cyberpunk. What would you consider it? Is it cyberpunk? Genres: science fiction, action. Nano genres? What the hell is a nano genre? Future sci-fi. Oh yeah, that would be definitely one of my favorite genres. Future sci-fi, technology, action, or technological. Okay, tons of Terminator, Ghost in the Shell, Oblivion. Oh, and there's Total Recall. I need to watch Total Recall. I need to watch that, and I need to watch RoboCop. And I need to watch 2001: A Space Odyssey. I also need to rewatch Cloverfield. That movie was really good, but I don't remember much about that. But yeah, The Matrix is just, it's stupid good. It's great. Just the concept of it was so unique at the time. It had never been done. Like, I hate what they did with the fourth movie. The fourth movie tried to be meta with all the, like, nostalgia bullshit. Like, being self-aware of nostalgia and being aware of the industry and stuff like that, but it flopped. But the original Matrix is one of the greatest movies I've ever seen, and I love it to death. And as for my fourth favorite, I don't have one. I'm still deciding on what I want to make my fourth favorite. It's like, with me, with movies, I am a very heavy film connoisseur. There are films that I want to recognize for being pieces of legitimate art, like Ghost in the Shell. That movie is great, too. I actually might make that my fourth favorite. It would make sense for what I like genre-wise. No Country for Old Men, it's good. It's just... it's good. No Country for Old Men is good. Like, it's like a movie that should define what filmmaking is. There's Shin Godzilla 1917. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. That's a contender, too. It's between Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse or Ghost in the Shell, but I think I think it would make sense for me to give it to Spider-Verse, or I could give it to a war movie that I like, because I do really, really enjoy war movies. I am a hardcore history buff. Well, not hardcore, but... there's a... Oh, yeah, I have the movie 13 Hours, The Secret Soldiers of Benghazi on here. Directed by Michael J... Michael J? What? No. Michael Bay. John Krasinski, one of my favorite actors, is in this movie. It's great. Like, it's really good. Like, there is a... Okay, I'll spoil a bit of 13 Hours for you. There's a scene in the movie where mortars get dropped on the main platoon of men, and a guy gets his arm blown off, but there's ribbons of skin and, like, fragments of bone that are leaving his arm attached to him. So it's like it blew up at his elbow, but his arm is literally snapped off, and it's hanging and drooping off of him. With his other arm, he's shooting at the enemy. It's like, what the... Like, when I watched that, I rolled back, and I was like, what the shit, what the shit, what the shit, what the shit. Like, I was like, what the hell? I did not expect that from this movie. Like, I didn't know Michael Bay could get that gory with movies, but he did. Wait, John Krasinski's in Free Guy? I didn't know that. Is he in the Muppet? He's in the Muppets? He's in Super Pets? Okay, wait, no. He's in Jarhead? Okay, he's in Jarhead. He's in... Yeah, he's in a lot of... Oh no. John Krasinski was in Dougal. That's funny. If you don't know what Dougal is, go give that a Google. How that makes sense. He's in The Office. That too. The Office is what made John Krasinski's, like, career big, and then there's, of course, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Wait, who did he play in this? Who's Charlie Norton? Oh. Okay, well. Yeah, it might be Spider-Verse that takes my fourth favorite film, because, again, the movie is, very, very good. The animation is unlike anything in the animation industry. It looks like it's obvious it got straight ripped out of a comic book. Every frame in that movie you could put into a comic book. I think CinemaWins said that. You should also watch his YouTube. Those videos are really good. But, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse might be my fourth favorite. I think it is. Like, growing up reading comic books, I have such a huge love for them, and now that this gets made, that was made, it's just like, when that movie came out, I watched it again and again after so many times. I feel like for you to have a favorite movie, it has to be something you can go back and watch again and again. So Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is definitely one of those movies that I could go back to and I can watch again and again and again. Even Puss in Boots 2, The Last Wish, that movie was animated kind of like Spider-Verse. And that movie was so good. It beat out Avatar on IMDb. It beat out the second Avatar. Oh my god, this movie's got 1 million likes. Jeez, man. Wait, I Hate Everything has a Letterboxd? Heck yeah. Oh, wow. Eesh. Wow, he's very harsh on movies. Oh, God. Okay, at least he gave Puss in Boots The Last Wish a 4. Okay, he gave Top Gun Maverick a 3.5. Ooh, Love, Death, and Robots. Ooh, that's interesting. Oh, wait, these are the episodes of Love, Death, and Robots? Ooh, where's the Shapeshifter episode? Ooh, because I like the Shapeshifter episode. Jabaro episode of Love, Death, and Robots was weird as shit. I don't... Let me see if... Nope. Yeah! Shapeshifters by Love, Death, and Robots. That episode was so cool. If you haven't watched Love, Death, and Robots, it's on Netflix, and just go watch the Shapeshifter episode. For the love of God, just go watch that, because holy shit, it's good. I'll read the synopsis of it. 2 close friends in the Marines with supernatural powers have to fight one of their own in Afghanistan. That's literally it. Oh my God, and people are harsh. Wow. Ugh, it's got a 3-star average rating when I gave it like a 4. Ugh. That's not good. Stranger Things on Letterboxd? Let me see. Wait, ooh, is Utopia on here? No. Okay, Utopia, the original show, isn't on here. Stranger Things. Wait, do they... Oh. Okay. Huh. Interesting. There's no, like, real TV shows on here. Okay, that's interesting. I did not know that, but back to what I was talking about. Yeah, the Shapeshifter episode of Love, Death, and Robots is just, it's badass. There's also The Passion of the Christ. That's a very heartbreaking movie. That movie made me cry the first time I watched it. I won't be ashamed to admit it. Killer Bean Forever. Obvious 5-star. But yeah, alright. So I said I would talk about my favorite band after I was done talking about some of my favorite movies. So let's get on to that. So my favorite band, Gojira. They are a metal band from France. And they began making music in 1996. And they have 2 million monthly listeners on Spotify. And their most popular song is Stranded, followed by Silvera, followed by Flying Whales, followed by... Wow, Our Time Is Now is that popular? That's like their newest song. Damn. Their latest album is Fortitude, but their latest song or single is Our Time Is Now. So, that's interesting. But, I found them, a while ago. Like a year and a bit ago. And their music is just, it is something else. Like, it's metal music, but when you listen, they have such a distinct sound to them that, it's, I don't know how to describe it. It's just, it's got such a unique sound that you know it's them when you hear them. It's like when you hear Metallica, you know it's Metallica. When you hear Korn, you know it's Korn. When you hear, Pantera, you know it's Pantera. When you hear Slayer, you know it's Slayer. But I have listened to almost every Gojira song ever. I'll go to my profile on Spotify. My top artist this month is Gojira, and second is Machine Head. My most played song this month by them is Space Time. And then followed by that is Love, The Link, and Indians. Space Time might be my favorite song of theirs, which is weird because it's from their first album, Terra Incognita. And it's a very, very heavy song, but there's a break in the middle of it where Joe, the main singer, he does a vocal part, and it's insane. It builds up, like, it breaks from the metal, and then it goes into, like, a slow climb, and then it rests, and then it stays consistent, and it's, like, a very melancholy, part of the song. Like, go listen to Space Time by Gojira if you haven't, from their album Terra Incognita. It's so stupid good. Like, I lately have been listening to a lot of stuff from their older albums, primarily from The Link and Terra Incognita, but they have some other great albums too, like The Way of All Flesh, L'Enfant Sauvage, which I pronounced that right, because that album's name is in French. So they have L'Enfant Sauvage, which is, or wait, is it L'Enfant Sauvage? Or Les Enfants Sauvages, I don't know. Screw it, something in French. But, it basically means in French, like, the untamed child. And some of these albums have themes, like, The Way of All Flesh, I feel like is a deep dive into the human soul. Sauvage is, very much about a kid who grows up in the wilderness. Like, you've got Born in Winter, The Gift of Guilt, Pain is a Master, The Fall, The Axe, Liquid Fire. Then there's Magma, which might be one of their saddest albums. Because Magma was written after the main singer and the drummer, the main singer of the band Joe Duplantier and his brother, who's the drummer, Joe and Mario. Mario is the drummer and he's Joe Duplantier's brother. That album was written and made after their mother died, and I actually have on my phone. Where the frick did I put my phone at? What the hell? Where did I put it? Oh my god, did I oh, no, there it is. Found it. I have, on my phone, an interview that, Louder.com did with Joe Duplantier and, Mario. And this is what it says about Magma, the album, when they wrote it when their mom died. As much as it's an album very obviously rooted in personal tragedy, Magma emerges as a celebration of life, liberty, and independent thoughts and deeds, and a stirring tribute to the redemptive power of love. That also, Love, is a song on Terra Incognita. That is, like, the second best track on there, compared to Space Time. And then third, I would say, is Blow Me Away Universe, or Universe. It's really good. The celebration part is true, says Joe. We made an album with sadness and pain, but it's a pure expression of feelings in the moment. We are mourning, but at the same time there is joy. Even though we lost our mother, in some ways we didn't lose her, because she made us, and we are part of her, and somehow her spirit is still around with us. I remember when we decided to call the album Magma, says Mario. It was when our mother was in the hospital, and it was the most difficult time for all of us. We were feeling a mix between memories of the past and a fear of the future, with all the emotions burning inside. Magma is the expression of something boiling inside. We cannot touch it, but eventually it will erupt, and it makes perfect sense for how we were feeling at that time. And then talks about the lyrics, and then it says this: sitting beside their mother's bedside last year, she battled against cancer. Their mom lost her battle to cancer, which was really sad. was naturally painful and traumatic for her loving sons, with Joe remembering the time as a, quote, real nightmare. She was suffering so much, it was hell for her, says Joe quietly. We didn't know whether to hope for her to get better, or for that it, we didn't know whether to hope for her to get better soon, or to hope that it would end soon. It was spiritual and mental torture to not know what to wish for. We had to learn not to hope, but just to live in the moment. Which, that is really sad, because your mother is dying of cancer. Should it get better, or should she heal, or should the suffering just end? Like, you don't know. And stuff like that. I have an entire folder on my phone just that has Gojira imagery. Like, I love the imagery of their band. The artwork they do is so ethereal and otherworldly and so unique. Like, even the album covers are some of the most unique things that you've seen. Magma is obviously a volcano. From Mars to Sirius, one of their most popular albums has a flying whale on the front with 2 planets in the background, which I think is their best album cover. And there's L'Enfant Sauvage, which is like a tree in someone's head. There's Fortitude, which is like a guy holding a shield and a spear. The Way of All Flesh, the skeleton that goes into like diving into the soul stuff. The Link is a tree, which is interesting. And then Terra Incognita is just a guy like kneeling over holding his head. But I really like the art that they do. Mario Duplanter, their drummer, has done a lot of art. He does a lot of art, and he has a website where he sells his art, and it's very, very, very beautiful stuff. It's very good. What was I gonna say? He paints his drum covers, or like drum sets, after he's done with them after a show. So, you know, it's very, very interesting. I would recommend looking some of their stuff up. Like, he doesn't care about, like, all the details, which is another thing. Like, he says that they like mystery, where life is like a mystery to them and stuff like that. I would recommend, if you want to learn more about Gojira, go listen to their music first of all, and go, like, get to know them, like, listen to interviews, listen to talks that they do. Like, that's what I did, because I got really stupid knee-deep. Like, it even inspired my own artwork. Like, what you see on screen now, that art was heavily inspired by Gojira's album covers. It was primarily inspired by From Mars to Sirius. And this is just, like, the first logo. I'm gonna improvise on it and make it better. But I like it. It's a very unique logo for a podcast. There's no words. It's just the helmet. Yeah, their band is incredible. It's actually taught me a lot about life too, where it's like, don't be so sucked in to the world and crap. Like, see a bigger picture. Like, understand more things, like, and stuff like that. But songs I would recommend to listen to get to know them, I'm immediately gonna recommend The Heaviest Matter of the Universe and Flying Whales, because those 2 songs I think are what made Gojira what they are. Actually, the entire album From Mars to Sirius is what cemented their sound. Like, before that, there was Terra Incognita and The Link, and then From Mars to Sirius came along, and that blew shit out of the water. It is incredibly good. From Mars to Sirius is probably their heaviest album. Compared to, like, their older stuff. You've got songs like Heaviest Matter of the Universe and Flying Whales, which I've already talked about, but you've got songs like From the Sky, Where Dragons Dwell, Backbone, Ocean Planet, World to Come, Global Warming, In the Wilderness, From Mars, which is one song, and then Too Serious, which is another song. And actually about that, From Mars and Too Serious are technically two songs that are just split up. If you play From Mars first and then queue up Too Serious to play after, the songs perfectly meld together at the end part of From Mars in the beginning of Too Serious. They blend together perfectly. It's actually just one song split into two parts, which is really cool. But other songs I would recommend, listen to The Shooting Star on Magma, and then listen to Stranded. I'll give two songs from every album. So for From Mars to Sirius, Heaviest Matter of the Universe and Flying Whales. For Magma, listen to Shooting Star, The Shooting Star and Stranded. For L'Enfant Sauvage, listen to Born in Winter and then the title track, L'Enfant Sauvage. For Fortitude, I'd say listen to I'd listen to Another World and The Chant. Those are like two of the most popular songs on that track. For The Way of All Flesh, I would listen to The Art of Dying and Esoteric Surgery. Those two are really good. For The Link, I would say listen to The Link and Indians. Those are the two that I've been listening to the most. And then obviously for Terra Incognita, you've got Space Time and Love, like I've said before. Alright. Whew! Is anyone else tired? I kind of went on several different tangents there, but I think I'm going to end the first episode of the WTFWF here. I do want to make more segments of the podcast. I'll title this episode 0, like the prototype episode. We'll see how it goes. But, it was only an hour and 20 minutes. It's short compared to what podcasts normally are-ish. I think it's a good length. I think people have time to tune into it. But, thank you guys so much for watching. Please, again, spread it around. And also, if you made it to the end of the video or the podcast here, and if you're listening to me, thank you very much for listening. I hope you like it, and I know this is only like the proto episode, but please make sure to give feedback on like what you'd like to see me talk about, pop culture stuff wise, stuff like that, TV shows and all that. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I shall go now. I'm just gonna leave. Yep, this is me leaving. Bye.